So a funny thing happened on my way into Yeshiva this morning for this big day. Speaking with the Rebbitzin, I said to the Rebbitzin, I got an email inviting me to a Sudas Preda, which I did. I got an email, Erev Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos, inviting me to a luncheon, a farewell luncheon, farewell party. So I told this to the Rebbitzin this morning. She asked me right away, are you going to be speaking? I said, Mustama, it's usually assumed that the one that's leaving gives a speech. So I said, okay, I want to come. Now that's the funny thing, because usually when there's an event and I'm going to be speaking, she finds something else to do. But today she said, I want to be there. I said, what's going on over here? Manishtana, you want to be here today for the speech? So Rebbe told me, I've been waiting 20 years to hear you say something serious. So we'll try. So I suppose everyone deserves an answer. Why are we going? And if not now, then when? I suppose the Olam does deserve an answer to that question. Why are we leaving? Why are we going? So truth is, I'm not sure exactly myself. I'm not 100% sure. So I wanted to answer for myself first. So after we made the big decision, after we decided that we're going, and we applied for passports and everything, I decided to sit down and make a list of 10 reasons why we're moving to Philadelphia. What are 10 reasons why we're doing this? I stopped. I didn't get all the way to 10 because the first 6 were Dr. Pepper under the OU. So I had to stop at that point. So I gave up with the list of 10 reasons. But I realized that there's another truth, I think, going on over here, another powerful idea. It's been a privilege teaching in Aish all these years, being here, but I was always wary of a certain day coming, of the time that would come in which I would finally begin to relate to the Aish guys. I was always apprehensive of such a moment in time. When I finally be able to, chap these guys and relate to them, understand them, get into their heads. And the day actually finally came quite recently. And what was that, what do they call that? The aha moment. The aha moment, that breakthrough, the eureka, the wow, I chap these guys. So recently, I was making a cheshbon nefesh. And I came to the following conclusion. I realized the following truth. My wife and I, we got married a couple of decades ago. We came into Eretz Yisrael shortly after the Chasana. Shortly after the Chasana, we came out here. And there were discussions, when we were dating, there were discussions during Sheva Brachas probably, definitely right after Sheva Brachas. Going into, it was understood that we were coming out to Eretz Yisrael, but there were this is all truth. Everything that I've said is truth so far, but this is also included in those truths. There were discussions that we had as to what was the nature of our trip to Eretz Yisrael, so to speak, our travel plans, and our short-term, long-term plans and goals. And when we first came out, so it was understood, it was a given, and we both spoke this out, that we were coming to Eretz Yisrael for 5 years. That was what we were kaiveya. We're coming to Eretz for 5 years. We'll go back to the Mir, sit by Rav Asher a little bit, maybe do something after Rav Asher. 5 years is a nice chunk of time. 5 years is a nice amount of time to be able to soak in Eretz Yisrael, and then we'll go back. We'll go back to a nice place in Chutz La'aretz and see what's cooking over there. So quite recently, I suddenly had the paradigm shift in this insight of oh my. We planned to come here for 5 years, and now suddenly it's been 20. What happened? And in that moment, I chapped each and every one of you, right? You guys, you come out for 6 days, for 3 weeks, and then you turn around. What happened? 18 months, Rabbi Ratzman convinced me to be here for another 2 years. The Smicha program, what's the geschehen? What's going on over here? I only came in for an essentials program. So is that paradigm shift, that breakthrough? I chap the Aish guys. I chap them. And I said, okay, it's time to go. It's time to go. I finally can relate to these guys. that moment has come. Time to move on. But taking that forward, I think the truth is deep down, and not so deep down, I kind of always knew we were going to end up in Philadelphia. Although the truth is, that's not true at all. I want to say this publicly. I never, ever, ever, in a million years, had a havamina of an anticipated thought of contemplating the possibility of ever being in Philadelphia. Not once did it ever come up on the radar screen. Now, other places, yes, Denver's a nice place. Canada, we thought about, but we stopped thinking about it. There's Los Angeles, there's nice places out there, places we thought about. If we would at Lu Yitzur, we'd someday go back to Chutz La'aretz and look into what's going on over there. There were places that came up, place on the radar. Philadelphia was never even mentioned once. No one from Philadelphia should take this personally, please. But it happens to me. The history of the city, notwithstanding, which I'm sure Rav Gil could tell us about. Probably not the Philly residents, but Rav Gil tells us a lot about the history of Philadelphia and the residents. All that notwithstanding, Lamaisa, we never thought about it once. It was never discussed. Not 20 years ago, not 30 years ago, not 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, not 6 months ago. But I want to say something else publicly as well. There was another point in time, not that long ago, let's say 13 years ago, when I was equally devoid of any havamina that would ever be in HaTorah. And you only have to go back about 13 years. For the same exact kind of just absence of any contemplation, any kind of thought, any type of remote consideration, like, is this something maybe you would want to do one day? Could you see yourself over here? HaTorah was equally lacking in any kind of contemplation, any kind of consideration. Mamish not on the race screen b'chlal. The same lack of havaminas. I never, ever, ever, before I was actually here, had a havamina that I'd be working, teaching, involved in HaTorah. You asked me 13 years ago, what are you doing? So again, it would have been Denver or Los Angeles, not Canada. They're saying chaburas in the Mir, open up a yeshiva somewhere near the Mir, right? Like everybody else, that's an industry over there. Mir's an industry. There's an industry of yeshivas around the Mir. So something like that. The HaTorah was not even a smidgen of a havamina. And the Rebbe had other plans. What's my Aish story? That's not so exciting. Your stories are all much more exciting, right? I wasn't held up by anyone. I wasn't kidnapped or whatever it was, right? Whatever the story was, my own personal one, I ended up in Aish and I was here for a couple of years, having the privilege, the schus of working alongside Rabbi Schoonemaker, and then for the last 10 years or so, the unbelievable schus of being involved firsthand, learning Torah together with the Olam over here. But again, something that was not ever, ever, ever on the radar screen, never contemplated, never even a havamina once. And on that idea, I'd like to share something. A vart that I once heard in the name of the Brisker of, on a Kapitel Tehillim, on one of the chapters in Tehillim, chapter 23. David HaMelech says, Mizmor LeDavid, Hashem Roi Lo Yechzor. Hashem is my roya. Hashem is my shepherd. I'm not missing anything. I'm not lacking anything. David goes on to say, Binois Desha Yarviseini, which means in lush, rolling meadows of green grass, Hashem lays me down to rest. Amei menuchais yinahaleni. Hashem leads me to sparkling, refreshing waters. So there's a couple questions to be asked over here. First of all, since when do we refer to Hashem as a shepherd? Sali, Mutsudasi, Hashem is my strength, Hashem is my fortress. A shepherd seems a little bit menial, a little bit reducing of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Make HaKadosh Baruch Hu into a shepherd. A shepherd's a little bit, seems, kav yochel, lowly, menial. Rebbe says, again, is it Mitzuda, is it Selah? is Mos, Tzur, Yeshuasi, is a rock. Why is David HaMelech making Hashem into a shepherd? And second of all, David says in future tense, to green rolling meadows, he will lay me down to rest. And to fresh sparkling waters, refreshing waters, he will lead me. How does David know that? How does he know where he's being put down to pasture? How does he know where he's being led to? How can David HaMelech say such words? He'll find out when he gets there. He knows Hashem's plan. So the Brisker Rav said the following idea. Very practical, very powerful. You know, in life, each and every one of us, we go through different tekufas in life. And there are times we find ourselves in a situation we feel a little stuck. That can happen to anyone. Feel stuck in a career, stuck in a location, stuck in a relationship, stuck with a chavrusa, stuck with a rebbe. We're stuck, we feel stuck. And in those moments that we feel stuck, we look longingly to the noise desha, to the green grass, right? I want to be over there. I want to be over there. The Mei Menuchos. I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong place right now. I'm stuck. I want to be there. Now sometimes in life it's the other way around. We're very comfortable with where we are. Very comfortable, very complacent, very happy. We feel very good. We feel very productive. We feel very settled. And then nevertheless we find ourselves being moved, being compelled to get up and leave. We like it here. This is where it's at. These are the noise desha. Why am I being pushed? Why am I being moved? Why am I being sent out of here? So we have both stages in life, and it can bring both of these reactions. That I want to be there. Why am I stuck? I'm stuck. I love it here. It's great here. Why am I being pushed over there? Why am I being moved on? So what is it that gives us reassurance? What is it that gives us strength? Where do we get the comfort and the strength and the reassurance during those times? I want to get out of here. I need a change. Or I love it here. Why am I being forced to change? What keeps us strong? What gives us reassurance? Says David HaMelech. What gives us reassurance during those times is Hashem Roi. Hashem is Roi. Hashem is my shepherd. Hashem is my shepherd. This is where the strength comes from. Because a shepherd is different than everything else. A shepherd, maybe a little menial, but that's because, what's the HaTorah? What's the definition of a shepherd? What's a shepherd? A shepherd is someone that has one motivation and one motivation only. One mode of operating. There's only one thing that the shepherd does, there's only one thing the shepherd is interested in doing. Everything that the shepherd does always is always just in the best interest of the sheep. I'm just taking care of you. That's all I want to do. I'm a shepherd, yeah? I'm a lonely, menial shepherd, and this is my life. My life is just taking care of the sheep. So when we find ourselves, I need to get out of this. I need a different shear, I need a different chavrusa. This relationship is not working. I need to break this relationship. But I can't. I need to get out of this career, but I can't. As much as we try, that's the Rebbeinu telling us, you're making a big mistake. You're making a mistake. You're not stuck. These are nois desha. You don't appreciate the lush meadows, the rolling green grass that you have all around you. You're not stuck. This is where you're supposed to be. I'm your roya. You don't realize the opportunities that you have. Stop feeling stuck and take a look around you and realize what you have to graze on over here. The opportunities that you have, and sometimes opportunities can be painful, but those are also opportunities. Grass can come with a geschmacka taste and can come with a bitter taste. But it's the Raya telling us, this is nois desha, this is where you're supposed to be. I'm just taking care of you. And sometimes we're comfortable, we're settled. I'm doing so much over here. This is amazing. So many opportunities. so many people to be a part of. And nevertheless, a sudden whirlwind of a change, a sudden tempest of a tumult comes and just whisks you around and around and around. And a sudden scary move comes and you find yourself being pushed, almost ejected, compelled to leave, compelled to move on. And you say, it's amazing here. There's so much going on. And it's the same thing David HaMelech is telling us. It's not a scary, sudden tempest of a move. That's Vaita, that's again the shepherd. That's the shepherd with his staff urging you, nudging you along, saying, you've been here long enough. There's sparkling waters for you somewhere else. There's mei menuchos elsewhere. It's time to move on. So both of these times can be scary, can be lonely, can be difficult. But David HaMelech says, Hashem roi lo echsar. When we realize Hashem is the roya, we're not lacking anything. We realize, if we're here, these are the nice tesha. If we feel that push, if it just comes out of nowhere, the Rebbe Hashem is telling us, there's mei menuchos for you over there. It's time to go to those mei menuchos. I'm the roya. I know better than you. So, I've been here for a while, and I've been by a number of goodbye parties in my time here. And I've spoken by a lot of goodbye parties, and I've said goodbye to a lot of people over the years. But this is the first time, Rabbi Yisai, that I'm blowing my nose in the middle of a speech. And this is also the first time, that I'm saying goodbye to an entire yeshiva. And that being the case, I just like to take advantage of this moment in time, just to make a few personal remarks, statements, and acknowledgments. Outside the yeshiva, inside the yeshiva may be powering my place in the yeshiva. That's obviously the Rebbetzin. I've started off with thanking her, which is something that makes her very uncomfortable. So I'm not really going to get into the pratim. Only, rather not antagonize her, make her uncomfortable. She's already upset enough that we're moving, so I don't want to overdo things. But anyway, let it just be said that Shaliv Shalachem Shalahi, and if not for her telling me it's okay, you don't have to eat supper with the family tonight, you can go meet with them. It's okay, you don't have to be home for Shabbos, you can go over there. Go do what you need to do. And I believe in you, and you're doing the right thing. So I believe that the last 10 years would have been a different 10 years. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. Within the yeshiva. Applauses for the Rebbetzin, right? Not within the yeshiva, right? Should do it again just to make sure there weren't any fakers. Okay. Within the yeshiva, there are definitely individuals that have to be pointed out, singled out, acknowledged, probably apprehended and thanked. I would go through many individuals here, name by name, and give a little bit of personal thanks for each one, but I'm not going to, for two reasons. A, inevitably people will be left off the list, and those people will feel very bad, and I don't want that going into Yom Kippur. B, other individuals that will be left off the list will probably chap that they're part of the reason why I'm leaving. And we definitely don't want that going into Yom Kippur. So we're not going to mention anyone by name, with the exception of two. I figured it's safe to mention two people. Two people I can mention. One, both on a personal note, personal connection. One person whom I just learned a lot from, through observation from a distance and also a bit close up. And one who was very much a part of what I've been privileged to be doing here these last 10 years. So first of all, I'd like to mention this, the first individual that needs to be mentioned. And is, again, individual number one. There's two reasons I'd like to mention it. A, because there's someone that I learned a lot from over the last 10 years. And B, because I really feel that if I don't say something, no one's ever going to say anything. So I'm going to say something now. And that's our inimitable, esteemed Mashgiach Rav Gil Eisenbach, Shlita. Now, what have I learned from Rav Gil? I just like to say the following. I learned a tremendous amount from Rav Gil. The first and foremost, humility, modesty, and flexibility. I want to tell you guys something. When I first came to Aish, this is, about 12 and a half years ago or so. So I was trying to learn the ropes, learn the lay of the land, like who do you have to get close to if you want a promotion? Who do you have to be friendly with if you need a raise? These things are very important. Those are your Yesodis for life, by the way, Rabbi Yisai. So I was trying to learn the lay of the land over here, learn the ropes. And so it mentioned to me, we have a very chashuv mashgiach who's also Magid Shir, Rav Gil. I heard that name a lot, Rav Gil. I'll go to Rav Gil. You want to buy something, go to Rav Gil. You want to sell something, go to Rav Gil. You need something, go to Rav Gil. Rav Gil's the man. So I kept hearing the Rav Gil. I heard other names when I first came in. Can't even remember anymore. But Rav Gil was a name that was thrown out a lot. So this is my first 48 hours here in Aish. So I went to have they still have Ada Yom Hazeh. They have these schedules up outside the base medrash on the bulletin boards, and you can find names, the name, and where his shir is when he gives shir. So I went to find Rav Gil. Where does he hang out? Where does he say shir? How can I find him? I couldn't find his name anywhere on the list. He wasn't there. Everyone talks about Rav Gil, and he's not on the list anywhere. I checked all the lists. I checked all the signs. I couldn't find a Rav Gil anywhere. One name I kept finding was Rav Eisenbach. I kept saying Rav Eisenbach, Rabbi Eisenbach, Rabbi Eisenbach, Rabbi Eisenbach, but Rav Gil wasn't there. And I don't know how long it took me. It took me about a week till I chapped that they were the same person. Rabbi Eisenbach and Rav Gil are one and the same. So I just want to point something out, Rabbi Say. I don't know if anyone else has thought about this, but we have someone who has the distinction not only of being our mashgiach and dagening. Rav Gil is here to make sure that everyone is clothed, if not in proper outdoor attire, at least in proper halachic attire. Rav Gil is always ensuring that, and he makes sure we have tefillin and tzitzis and mezuzahs, and Rav Gil takes care of quite a lot over here. And he's not only that, he's a pretty chush of a fellow, Rav Gil. He gives shiurim. You have a halachic shayla. You want to know how we do things. What's the minig? What's the messiah? Rav Gil always knows immediately how we do things, how they do things, how the other people do things, and don't listen to what they tell you. He's a chush of an esteemed individual, and he's, I think, the only one in this yeshiva who has the distinction of having been here longer than Rav Noyach, even Rav Gil. And this is modesty, and Rabbi Say, the entire yeshiva is on a first name basis with him. First name basis. When people go to Rav Asher, they don't say Rav Asher, how are you doing? They say, I don't know, Rabbi Arieli, maybe if you're very American, right? But with someone of such stature, in general, we don't find that we're on a first name basis with them. Right? When Rav Noyach Zatzal was alive, people wanted to have a shmuz in Tamidim, Bachrim, Avreichim, the yeshiva. They didn't go over and say, no, Rav Noyach was Herzach. No, maybe his Chaverim, right? But not his Tamidim. In general, someone very chashuv we refer to, as Rebbe or Rav Eisenbach. But the entire yeshiva is on a first name basis with Rav Gil because we put the Rav in front. Okay. But who else do we accord such a informality with? And this bespeaks of the direct proportion to his chashivus and his stature, I think, is his humility and his modesty and his anava. And Rav Gil's there for everyone. And it's very clear that, that's his role, and he's very happy to fulfill that role, and to be on those terms with everyone, to be there for everyone, to be present for everyone. But just from this appellation, I believe we can already learn a tremendous amount of anava. Not to mention the fact that it doesn't seem to disturb Rav Gil in the very least that everyone in the yeshiva and everyone in the rova has a copy of the key to his office. How often does he get his locks changed? Never. They changed it once. The yeshiva changed his locks. But Rav Gil knows that everyone has a copy of the key. It doesn't phase him. If I had an office in the base medrash with a computer, so I would keep that under lock and key. I would keep a few locks over there, padlock. Rav Gil, again, that's the anava, that's the humility, the being accommodating. His office is a ganze Rishus Harabim. It's a Rishus Harabim, his office. But there's that bottom line of, I'm not here for myself. I don't need that recognition. I don't need that, the office with the plaque on the outside, the office that only I have access to. Listen, if you can benefit from it like I benefit from it. Please make yourselves at home. Make yourselves at home. How much time has Rav Gil clocked in that chair versus the rest of the yeshiva clocking in that chair? Right? 5% of the time you're there in the chair, 95% everyone else is there in your chair. Something like that, right? Okay, this is something to learn from, something that I learned from. That's individual number one. Individual number two, someone very, the Yedid Nefesh, someone that I would certainly be remiss if he would not be mentioned now, is Rabbi Rossman. Rabbi Rossman. And I want to say something. I want to say this again publicly, because I can get away with like anything I want right now. So I'm going to. Most people in the yeshiva associate Rabbi Rossman with the word no. That's the association over here. That's the labeling, and that's the way it is. He's there's someone called the yes man. He's the no man. As in. Rabbi Rossman, can I do drugs? No. Rabbi Rossman, can I get into shidduchim? No. Rabbi Rossman, can I go on a date? Can we do drugs on the date? No. I'm sorry, you can't do that. You can't do that. So we get a lot of no's. We get a lot of no's all the time from Rabbi Rossman. Rabbi Rossman, can I join the smicha program? I'm pumped. I really want to steig. I can do it. I want to join the smicha program. No, you have to learn the aleph base first. I'm sorry. So we get that a lot. And unfortunately, it is unfortunate that he has that spin, I think, a little bit of being a no man, being someone that is just very dismissive, and he's always shooting down your plans. You have it all worked out. We know exactly what we need, and we know how we're going to make it. And no. It's not really his fault, obviously. It's, if we would be a little bit better about kicking certain habits, we would hear a lot more yeses than nos. If we would be a little bit more normal, like we can use the word now, normal, Rabbi Yisai, we'd get a lot more yeses than nos. It's not his fault that we're a bunch of clowns over here, right? It's his fault. He schuldigt. What did he do wrong? But in any case, nevertheless, we get a lot of nos. I want to tell you something. I want to tell everyone something. For me, Rabbi Rossman, I've heard my no's as well. Yes, I have heard those. But I've heard a lot of yeses. And yeses that were quite significant, in fact. Yeses that maybe someone else would have said no to. There were certain points along my tenure over here where I had all kinds of exciting ideas, brave, intrepid, maybe foolhardy ideas in terms of, what are we going to learn this man? What are we going to learn on the side? How are we going to structure first Seder and second Seder? I had a lot of my own thoughts and my own ideas. I guess what you could call the Rebbe's equivalent of asking if you can go on drugs, right? Kind of a similar, I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but if we draw like a parallel, right? So I had over the course of my stay here many times, and I think Rabbi Rasman can attest to that probably more times than I even remember. He remembers that I came over, can we do this month? I'm really pumped. I want to do this. I think it'll be amazing. This limud will be gavaldik. And we're not talking about things that they do in a standard limudim that they do in standard yeshivas. We're not talking about that. And I was trying to take advantage, A, of something that I really want to do, and B, the fact that, this is not necessarily a standard yeshiva. So I went for broke many, many times. And I thought it would really be great. And I wasn't sure the answer that I was going to get. And more often than not, the answer that I got, Rabbi Yisai, was yes. Yes, you can actually do this. Yes, you can. Yes, go for it. I think it'll work. We'll see at the end of this man. More often than not, I got those yeses. And how many times did we do kachim over the last 10 years? 3, 4, 5? I don't remember. But quite a lot. We did kachim mesechtes. We did kachim limudim. And there was that belief and that faith and that vote of confidence from Rabbi Rasman. If you want to do this, go for it. At other places, other institutions, other yeshivas, you won't hear such a thing. You won't hear that vote of confidence. You won't hear that flexibility. You won't hear that, I see you're really excited about it. I see you believe in it, and I believe in you. I believe in you. Go for it. Many other places are very rigid, very fixed. This is what we do. These are the 6 mesechtas that we cover, and take it or leave it. These are the prakim that we cover from those mesechtas. Even when we were doing nashim mazik and yeshiva mesechtas, we want to do an off the beaten path perek. Go for it. Yes, do it. And for me, that's always been very nice. But aside from being very nice, I can definitely, just to paraphrase what I said earlier, you definitely say that part of the whole experience of these last 10 years, being able to say shir over here, being able to be involved in learning with the olam, which for me was very formative, irreplaceable, amazing, breathtaking, exciting, all of the above for me for the last 10 years. So much of that, Rabbi Yisai, of what contributed to the memories that I'm going to be taking with me of what it was like to be involved with everyone for the last 10 years are as a direct result of the accommodatingness of Rabbi Rasman, of him being a yes man, of his belief, his backing me up, and his confidence. So much of that, to the degree that we can definitely say, Shali v'shalachem shalayhu. If not for his belief, again, if not for him backing me up, it would have been a different experience, and different development, and different growth. And not only within the Gemaras that I taught, but the Sfarim that we had the schus of learning together on the side. Every single time, yeah, sure, go for it, do this, do that, do the other. And so much of that as well was what made these 10 years so amazing and so developmental. And again, it's direct credit, it's directly to the credit of the support and the confidence and the belief and the faith and the trust of Rabbi Rasman. So that's that. It's one more thing I'd like to say about Rabbi Rasman. One more thing. The Gemara Nedarim says that originally the Torah that was given to Moshe Rabbeinu, says the Gemara, was only supposed to be within the family. Interesting Gemara. Hashem gave the Torah to Moshe, and it was intended to be kept within Moshe's descendants. Moshe was supposed to teach it to his kids. They were going to teach it to his kids. We're talking about not mitzvahs, l'chayra. The Pashas in the Gemara is not that mitzvahs. Klaisa would have known the mitzvahs to perform, but the connection to learning, Torah, and learning, and lamdis, and developing, being in Bekis, that was supposed to stay within the family. Those were the Rabbanim, the Poskim were there, and the rest of Klal Yisrael was supposed to be there just to ask questions when they have questions from Moshe and his family. It's an explicit Gemara. That's how the Torah was supposed to be given. That was Hashem's intention. The Gemara says Moshe had Ayin Toiva. He looked upon Klal Yisrael with a favorable eye. He wanted to give them as much as possible. And he gave the Torah to Klal Yisrael. He made the decision, however that worked, that no, I don't want the Torah to stay in the family. I want to give this priceless gift to all of Klal Yisrael, that everyone has a chelik in learning, everyone has a connection to learning. And the Gemara says, Toiv ayin hu yevoirach, that the person that has this midah of ayin toiva, that can see Yanim, the other person, and how much I can benefit them, hu yevoirach, he's gebenched, he receives blessings, he receives brachas. So on a personal level, if I have to share certain sentiments and feelings today, from the last 10 years, specifically the last few months, I don't think any Gemara, any Maimer Chazal, any Pasuk better captures the feeling of the moment than this. Toiv ayin hu yevoirach, the one with an ayin toiva that can see others, that sees everyone with a good eye, with favorable eye, and just wants to give and give and give, he's the one that's really blessed. This captures my relationship with Rabbi Rasman, and to a certain degree Rabbi Rasman himself. If I was running a yeshiva, I would not be in a rush to start letting staff members go. If I was in charge of yeshiva and I had a certain crew assembled, and this one wants to leave, this one wants to leave, this one's going somewhere, I would not be in a rush to have my yeshiva start to leave on me. I would not be in a rush if I was running yeshiva. My ayin is perhaps a little bit ayin ra'ah. That's turning a little bit inwardly. I'm going to say one more thing publicly. Rabbi Rasman may be the one who has been to this point in time in charge of me, the one to whom I answer, the one who could, let's say, fire me if he wanted to all these years. He still can. So you could call an employer, right? A boss, an employer. But more than an employer, in addition to an employer, parallel from being an employer, separate from that, he's also a chaver, he's a friend, and a very good friend. As we would say, a nanta chaver, a very good close friend, and one with ayin toiva. One who, when it comes time to sing Yenim, the other guy over there, he puts aside all of his nagiyas, any personal biases that he may have, any agenda, and he sees the other guy, what could be amazing and best and good for you. From the moment in time that this opportunity came onto the table, Philadelphia, the moment that it was just a glimmer on the horizon even, which wasn't that long ago, okay, but the moment that it started as just a little glow on the horizon, he was already involved, but that's not surprising, he was probably involved before it was a glimmer, right? Rasman has a certain knack in being involved in things over here. But in any case, from the moment in time that it was a glimmer on the horizon, he was involved, he was already in dialogue and communication with the people over there on the Grand in Philly. From the moment in time, Rabbi Yisai, that this started, and I can say this now also because Rabbi Berger is not in the room, so I can say this safely, he, Rabbi Rasman, was my biggest supporter. He was the biggest backer in this, the biggest supporter of this endeavor, of this undertaking. And they called him up, someone over there, let's hear about Reber, let's have a talk. And they were on the phone for quite a long time. And he came over to me that night or the next day, he said, I want to tell you something. He said, this really sounds amazing. This opportunity sounds amazing. If this works out for you, it was just a glimmer. It was just a thought, a spark. It wasn't even going anywhere yet. He said, if this would go somewhere, if this would work out, this sounds amazing. And from that moment on, he was the biggest supporter, the biggest backer, the biggest messiah, facilitator in making this happen. I hope it's okay that I say this. I'm going to say it either way. No fewer than 2 different occasions, I borrowed Rabbi Rasman's office for Skype interviews. Rabbi Rasman's office. And I was thinking to myself, if this would be me again, and I'm running yeshiva, and they ask me, so it's one thing to tolerate someone looking into another position, but to lend my office, it's hagam lichboishes hamalka imi baboyes, azoi, az asort bechina, a chutzpah. But not only it was a request that he granted, it wasn't even a request. Rabbi said it was an offer. It was an offer. He offered it twice, 2 different times, 2 different occasions. He said, sure, use my office. You need having a Skype session, a Skype meeting with them? Use my office. It's quiet. You'll lock the door. I was sitting, I have a computer at home that has Skype, but there's also a lot of other people at home, right? And there's not that many places to hide in my house. So how am I going to have a Skype interview, a Skype session? What's going to be? Rabbi Rassin came, he said, take my office. Take my office. Twice. I don't know. I can't think of a better example, a better illustration of Ayin Tova. Mamish of Ayin Tova than that. So, Ayin Tova hu yevoirach, he should truly taka be gebenched and blessed in all of his efforts and endeavors going further to really be that yes person for everyone over here, even though you guys only maybe know the other side, but he really is a yes man. He believes in every single person. And Mitzvah Hashem will have brachas going weiter in that. I just want to conclude with this idea. How much time do we have? Okay. I want to conclude with this. But we know, you guys all know how that works, right? When the speaker says, I want to conclude, it means there's another 20 minutes, right? That's just a way of getting everyone to keep listening. So, that's another Yesite for life. I want to conclude, Rabbi Yisai, with the following idea. Like I said, this is the first time I'm having to say goodbye to a whole yeshiva. Taking leave of very chashuv, esteemed rabbanim over here. I'm taking leave of many, many rabbanim, many chashuv people. Chashuv rebbeim, chashuv staff members, chashuv avreichim, and chashuv bachrim, every single one of you, b'nei aliyah. And we just had a siyam Maseches brachas. And there's a Gemara in brachas that says, Rabbanim ki havim patri me hadadi, lo yavim patri ela b'dvar halacha. When the Rabbanim used to take leave of one another, they would take leave with the dvar halacha. They would share a halacha when they would say goodbye. So I'm taking leave of many Rabbanim over here. I want to share dvar halacha. I want to leave on a dvar halacha. And the halacha I'd like to share is a Mishnah Maseches Orla. Maseches Orla. Orla, which is about trees, and you can't eat the fruits for the first 3 years, and the 4th year it's Kodesh, and the 5th year es gesundheit, wherever you want. Orla. And there's a Mishnah in Orla like this that speaks out of halacha and hilchos Orla of the 3 years, the 4th year, and the 5th year, fruits, trees, when you can eat, when you can't eat. And this is the halacha as encapsulated in the Mishnah. I'm embellishing it somewhat, but this is essentially the halacha. The Mishnah talks about a tree. You got a tree. A firm tree, a tree that's put down roots, maybe even started to put out branches and fruits. It's pretty firm, pretty solid, pretty stable, pretty fixed. People walk by this tree. They say it's a strong tree. The tree's not going anywhere. It's a stable, fixed tree. And the Mishnah says, Vayi hayoim, lo and behold, the day comes. There's a sudden surge, a sudden deluge, a sudden great flood, and a river comes flooding its way through this orchard, suddenly without warning, and this tree suddenly finds itself being uprooted, being swept far, far, far away from its original place of planting, its original place of growth. And this river, this current, this raging torrent of a current takes this tree downstream and down the river to a faraway place, and finally the current subsides, and the tree finds itself being implanted at the banks of a totally different location, somewhere unknown, somewhere foreign, a place that the tree doesn't recognize, very far away. No, the tree is there, it's been implanted, it begins to put down roots once again, and begins to grow again. So the Mishnah wants to know what happens with Hilchos Orla in such a situation. Meaning, the tree, let's say, was already growing for 2 years in place A. Now the tree has been uprooted and replanted in place B. Talmudic conundrum over here. Do we begin the 3 years over again, or do we continue with the original cant? So the Mishnah says, it depends, says the Mishnah. It depends. It depends. Some circumstances, the tree will have to start all over again, but sometimes the tree keeps going with the original cant. It keeps the cant going. What does it depend on, says the Mishnah? So the Mishnah says, it depends on what the tree took with it. If the tree took a selah, the Mishnah says, a selah with it, then it keeps the original cant. If the tree did not take a selah, if the selah got washed away, then it starts over. What's a selah? A selah means a clod of earth, a chunk of dirt, but a chunk of dirt stuck to the roots that's significant enough to allow the tree to continue to have nourishment on the way. A clod of dirt, like they have nurseries, the kinds that have trees and not little kids, right? So nurseries, you can't buy a tree, but there's always have a garbage bag wrapped up on the bottom with a big chunk of dirt. That's a selah. That's what the Mishnah means by a selah. So it says the Mishnah, if the tree took with it a selah, a chunk of dirt, when it was swept away and it stayed intact, and it went with the tree to the new location, then it keeps the cant going. Year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. But the tree didn't take a selah with it, or the selah got washed out by the stream, by the torrents, by the currents, and the tree has to start all over again. That's the halacha. But what do we learn from this Mishnah? I'm speaking, obviously, to myself. But I'm speaking to anyone and everyone that may find themselves having to leave at any point. In the meantime, everyone stay here and keep steiging. But those of us who will be joining us in Philadelphia, speaking to you as well. And what do we learn from? What do we learn? You can still fire me. What do we learn from this Mishnah? What do we learn from this Mishnah? Sometimes in life there's upheavals, akiras, uprootings, and we find ourselves swept far downstream and replanted suddenly in an unknown foreign place. But if we took with us a clod of dirt from the original place, and a clod of dirt that gives us nourishment and nutrients and can keep us going, if we took that with us and we held on to it very tightly, as firmly as we could, tenaciously, with all those roots, we held on to it, we don't start the cant all over again. Why? Because in Lumdis, we're growing from there still. We're still growing from there, where we were planted originally. We're still growing there. So we don't start all over. We had year 1, year 2, and now we have year 3. Because we took our nourishment with us, we're still being nourished from there. We're still growing from there. And this is the way to do it. This is the way to make it. And this is the way, I think, to weather and survive these kinds of times in life. My bracha to my Rebbe and myself, we're still here. We're still here, not going anywhere yet. We're still around. To cling on tenaciously right now to that selah, grab onto the clod of dirt of Admas HaKodesh, the cell of Aish HaTorah that I got here for the last 10, 12 years, and everything that we were zeicha to get, and take it with us. So whatever happens down the road, we're still being yoinik from here, we're still growing from here, and it's one long growth, not a new one. One long development, and not something with an interruption, and starting all over again. Okay, that's it. Just to leave everyone with a few Yesodis for life, Rabbi Yisai. And this last opportunity I'm going to have to try to impart things. There's 3 quick Yesodis that I think everyone has to know. If I can share ideas with the Olam. This is it. This is what it all comes down to. I was thinking to myself, where the Rebbe said, actually, you should share words of wisdom with everyone. Something for them to hang on to. So I'm going to share 3 of them. First of all, the period of time in between, let's say, Winter Zman and El Zman is not called Bein Hazman. It's called Bein Hazmanim. Second of all, this one's even more important, singular of Sheva Brachas is also Sheva Brachas. Rabbi Yisai, it is incorrect to say, I was invited to a Sheva Bracha tonight. Not only that, people who say that should be shot. I'm going to a Sheva Bracha? No, singular Sheva Brachas is also Sheva Brachas. And finally, we still don't know 100% that the trunculus murex is where the tchelis really comes from. So, that being said, those are my three Yesodis, words of wisdom. This is what the Rebbe really wanted. So I'd like to share with everyone before we leave. And obviously it goes to that saying, the entire Olam is invited out to Mirz Hashem. We'll be there to Ranch West in Philly. We're looking forward to seeing everyone there. Come join us for a Shabbos. And can I say, we should all be zoiche to be nichta v'nechtam, the Sifrin Shel Tzadikim Gemurim Nechtam, signed, Rabbi Isai, for a year and many, many years to come, of amazing growth, amazing aliyah, amazing bracha, mamish, and everything we put our minds to. And should all be gebenched. We should continue our growth, continue our steigen. I know that everyone here will continue. It's been a tremendous privilege for me to be involved with everyone's growth. We had such a beautiful siyum here today. Beautiful, beautiful siyum. It's unexpected, a very nice way for me to, another piece of the selah for me to take with myself. Everyone will continue to steig, and everyone should continue to steig. Looking forward to hearing the nachas from everybody. And on that note, a lot of this has been, for me, tremendous nachas, always getting the reports and always seeing it in action firsthand. I would really love if everyone would continue to stay in touch. The world is not such a big place these days. The Olam is only a phone call away, or a FaceTime away, or a WhatsApp away if the Rebbetzin lets. We're not that far apart. The Atlantic Ocean is very easily traversable, and seeing everyone's successes has always been such a beautiful part of this. I really would love to be in touch with everyone. And another amazing part of this job has always been the schus and the privilege of hearing everyone's kvetching and complaining. And I want everyone to know that I want that to continue as well. And not only that, I will take advantage of this opportunity. Don't stop, Rabbi Isai. I want to hear all the problems, all the kvetches, all the complaints, all the everything. And in that spirit, I'm going to now give everybody, get out a pen so you can take this down, my private email address. Private email address that I haven't given to anyone ever, so that everyone can talk to you in touch. So anything that's going wrong, anything you need to complain about, please let me know ASAP. So please take this down. D, as in Dr. Pepper. R, as in doctor. DROSMAN @Aish.com. Thank you very much.